Hey, Steve, I'm super excited to talk about this new blockbuster type 2 diabetes drug, but what's it called again?
I'm excited too. It's called Mounjaro.
Wow. Wait, what did you just say?
Jeremy, it's called Mounjaro.
That seems kind of fun. I think I'm going to give it a chance here. Mounjaro. Did it work?
No.
All right, so we're not in Italy, but we're still very excited to be talking about this new blockbuster drug, Mounjaro. So welcome to A Dose of Dr. E and Dr. P. So Steve, tell us a little bit about what this drug is.
Yeah, it's an amazing addition to our type 2 diabetes armamentarium. Now, we've had drugs like Ozempic, Trulicity, which are excellent, what we call GLP-1 receptor agonists. Sorry about all these letters, but that's the best way to describe them. And this new medication not only stimulates the GLP-1 receptor agonist receptors, but it also stimulates another natural hormone found in the human body called GIP. Ready for this? Glucose-dependent insulinotropic peptide. I will not repeat that again. But it turns out that when the folks at Lilly, the scientists, were testing this compound, they realized that it was extremely potent in terms of bringing the A1C down, excuse me, and weight.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically activating two hormones with a single injection that you can give once a week. So the clinical effects from this drug have really, you can't overstate them.
Yep.
In terms of what they're doing for reducing A1C, what they're doing for weight. We are not exaggerating when we say we just haven't seen anything like this. Certainly since I've been in diabetes, and I don't know about you, people keep using words like game changer and paradigm shifting, and it really probably is. I don't know, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, now once again, we do have the high-dose GLP-1 medications, which are extremely good. And the higher dose ones haven't been studied directly against Mounjaro. However, our armamentarium is pretty damn impressive. And I do think that it's going to come down to, with this new medication, access and adherence. Mm-hmm. Getting it in your hands and then taking it over the long term, which is a problem in the type 2 population. Yeah, that's all of you folks out there.
So let's talk a little bit specifically about some of the clinical trial results. So it's been studied extensively in what they call the SURPASS studies. In thousands of people with type 2 diabetes, and we're going to talk about also in people with just obesity without type 2 diabetes. And they studied it in various combinations with people on metformin or if they're on basal insulin. And regardless of the actual specific population, when it came to people with type 2 diabetes, the reductions in A1C were consistently profound. So in these studies, people started with an A1C around 8 to 8.5. And what kind of A1C reductions did they get?
Yeah, there's a range, but 2 to 2.5% drop to the area where folks were in the mid 6% range. And the goal, of course, the ideal goal is less than 7. And we know that a minority of Americans have their A1Cs below 7.
And what I found that was, the most impressive is that when they originally showed data on this, they actually showed people that got their A1C down to less than 5.7. Why is that number important?
That's normal.
Yeah.
When you look at someone's A1C, anything less than 5.7 is defined as normal.
So in all the clinical trials we've seen, they usually report the number of patients that got their A1C down less than 7. But actually now showing that there's a significant amount of people that go on this drug that, technically are in the non-diabetic range.
Yeah, and it turns out that I've never seen a company coming out with a new drug that tries to show that data. Less than 7, less than 6.5 is the lowest. So it's shocking, actually.
So, and what about weight loss? So we mentioned that, another effect of this is weight loss. So in the type 2 diabetes trials, we're seeing weight loss that's on par with what you might actually see in bariatric surgeries. And the average weight loss from the type 2 studies was somewhere around 20 to 30 pounds, depending on how much you kind of had to lose, 15 to 20% of people's body weight.
Yeah, and it's there's 3 doses, 5, 10, and 15. So there's a lot of results from the 4 different SURPASS studies, but the weight loss is also greater than any other medication we have seen.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about in the studies they did specifically in people with obesity, that what was the average weight loss?
Yeah, you're not going to believe this, but on the higher dose of Mounjaro, 23% of their body weight. So they started off at about 250 pounds, and they lost, on average, 50 pounds. Some people lost more. Now, think about that.
Yeah.
And it turns out that many of the folks in this large study in people without diabetes had pre-diabetes based on their glucose values, and the vast majority of those folks reverted to normal.
So real quick, some practical things. So it comes in a once-a-week pen that looks very similar to the Trulicity pen if people have used it. You start at 2.5 milligrams once a week, and you generally do a dose change each month. You can get up to the maximum dose of 15 milligrams, which may take up to 6 months actually to titrate it. But we titrate it very slowly to reduce the side effects, the main side effect being nausea, but with similar rates of nausea compared to our other GLP-1s.
Yeah, and I think, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon when you're treating type 2. And the last thing you want is to develop nausea. So I'll tell you what, the results on the 5 and the 10 milligram dose were impressive. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to wait 5 weeks to see a benefit. You'll see it in the first week. You'll start to see things improve in the first week. And,
for more information, there's a really nice article on our website with a lot more data. And then you just did a very recent lecture with Dr. Trish Santos that'll move to our video vault, I think July 3rd, you said, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so check that out on a lot more specifics about it. But for now, we're just really excited that this we should say, has been FDA approved, and it's hitting pharmacies very, very shortly, if not already now.
Yeah, so it's not approved for folks with type 1 yet, but you never know. Right now, it's approved only for people with type 2 diabetes. And then the company did that big study in people without type 2 but had weight problems, and they will probably get the indication for general old weight problems, whether you have type 2 or not.
Cool. Well, I guess for now, I'm just going to have to book my flight to Italy and go kind of the old-fashioned way. But thanks for doing this with me. Since so long, everybody.
Buongiorno.